Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us again today at the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency for our daily briefing. We're going to have a special guest on here today, but before we introduce our guest, I wanted to just give you a little information on what we've been doing over the last 24 hours. We've been in contact with a lot of our partners, as we told you we would be. Last night, Chairman Kern and the county board extended the 30-day declaration for the disaster that was declared at the advice of some of our communities. The conference call that we had yesterday with the mayors, we've received declarations from those communities. Belleville, East St. Louis, O'Fallon, Muscuda, and Madison have sent their declarations in to us, so everybody is working together, getting this thing coordinated in a good fashion. We've also submitted the required documentation for the federal disaster declaration. It's not due until April the 12th, but we wanted to make sure that that got submitted and didn't fall through the cracks, so that's one thing off of our plate that we don't have to do. At this time, we're joined here once again by Barb Holt, the Executive Director of the St. Clair County Health Department, and I know she's been burning that candle at both ends. So, Barb, welcome once again, and what information do you have for our followers today?
Absolutely, lots of new information, and as you may have heard, the governor at his press conference at 3 o'clock this afternoon completed his executive order for folks to shelter in place. Now, what does that mean? That means stay home. This is the way that we can break this chain of transmission by staying home, staying out of the community. He also stated that no gatherings more than 10 people at a time. And again, avoid that. Stay within your home. You can go outside and take a walk or walk the dogs. You are allowed to go to the grocery store, the pharmacy, your medical doctors if necessary. But again, no unnecessary business in the public. The roads will be open, transportation systems will be open, and he has also asked that non-essential work be eliminated as well. Work from home if possible. Those folks that are essential workers, the public health workers, the healthcare providers, the government workers, transportation, electricians, plumbers, those folks that are essential to us to live and survive each and every day, those are considered essential workers. So continue to work. Please continue to help support our community. As far as, and the other thing the governor did say is that the food service facilities can continue providing curbside and drive-through services as well. Again, essential services, and of course, food is an essential service. Statewide, we have 163 new cases of confirmed coronavirus in the state of Illinois for a total of 585, and that has moved into 25 counties across the state. And those are from ages 3 years of age to 99 years of age. We have one more death, unfortunately, in the state of Illinois. That gives us a total of 5 deaths throughout the state due to coronavirus 19. And the state of Illinois has tested 4,286 folks to date. Here in St. Clair County, we have tested 41 individuals. We have 3 that have tested positive. Again, those 3 are a female in her 60s, another female in her 70s, and a male in his 50s. We have 30 negative tests, and we're awaiting 9 tests that are pending at this time. The state of Illinois has also changed its testing policies for individuals, again, due to the shortage of the testing capabilities for labs to have the correct procedures and guidance and the necessary items needed for doing the coronavirus testing. It's been short, and there's been a shortage across the state of Illinois, so the Department of Public Health is limiting their testing at their lab to only those folks that are hospitalized with certain conditions or those that may be associated with a COVID outbreak in a long-term care facilities. Several hospitals and different agencies are working to set up drive-through clinics. Again, this is an evolving process. As soon as they have local labs to be able to do that testing, please check your local radio stations, and we will announce it here as much as we know at this time. We know Memorial Hospital is working on the drive-through clinic, and again, as we know more information, we will get that out to you. But please check the local media as well. Again, with this limitation on testing, our health department is not doing any testing. We don't have the capabilities, and we're not doing testing at our local health department. As Chairman Kern will further explain, the county is closing our offices to the public, but we're not closing our facilities. We will all still be working, but please call the health department for more information. Our office will be open tomorrow. Just the health department office will be open just for phone calls tomorrow from 8 a.m. till noon to help further explain shelter in place and any other questions you may have in regards to COVID-19. There's a special number just for tomorrow. It's, of course, 618-233-7769. Again, that's 233-7769. That's the health department number tomorrow only, and that's only from 8 a.m. to noon tomorrow. Again, that's not an emergency number. It's just for regular information you can call to get routine updates. With that, I will turn it over to our chairman for St. Clair County, Mr. Mark Kern.
Okay. So, as we heard from Barb, things change. They're ever evolving here, and today the governor, following science and the advice of the medical community, has issued a shelter-in-place order. Now, what that means is they want you to stay home. They want you to stay at home if possible. That's imperative in this time to stop the spread of this very contagious virus. But banks will still be open, grocery stores, pharmacies, your doctor's office, gas stations, transit, public transportation will be open. Essentials such as plumbers, electricians, and restaurants all will still be in operation, and you still will be able to go out and access those. You're encouraged to go out and walk your dog. Walk in if you have parks, as long as you're practicing good social distancing, staying away from people, out of those groups. It's encouraged for you to go outside. That's going to be extremely important to keep your mental health in a good state. And we talked about that yesterday. Dana Rosenzweig came from St. Clair County Mental Health and discussed those issues. Call your friends, call your family, call your neighbors. If you think that they are they're lonely or they're in their house, it's a good thing not only for you and for your mental health to give them a call, but for them to hear from you. These are going to be good times to catch up, not only on things that are undone around the house, but things that really you maybe neglected, a relative that you haven't heard from for a long time. Those kind of opportunities are going to exist, and as bad as this whole thing, this episode is, there will be some good that will come out of it, and perhaps those contacts may be one of them. While you're at home, filling out your census forms, that's a good thing to do and get those back. It's as we enter a disaster like this, it's time that we think about how we rely on federal allocations and state allocations of dollars to be able to get through an event like this. That is based upon population, and the government doesn't know the population of this county, of this area, unless they actually see those census forms. So while you have time at home, filling those out is a positive use of your time. Starting Monday, as Barb talked about, the courthouse will be closed to the public. But we will still be providing essential services for you. Our switchboards will be operating from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to be able to answer any questions. But we encourage you to visit our website for information that's put on there as to what services, if you need to get married, if you need a marriage license, those type of things that are still being done. The courts are still going to be operating. Certainly the criminal court system, the judges have done a good job in working with the Illinois Supreme Court to make sure that your constitutional rights are protected and are available to you. So court operations will proceed. You may want to make a call to find out if the case that you're looking for or are going to the courthouse to access the proceedings for is going on. But those type of things are all available on our website. So we will get through all this together. This is a particularly contagious, highly contagious disease, and it requires you to stay home if possible and shelter in place. So we'll all be doing that. But please be assured, essential services will continue in St. Clair County. We will continue to offer those and operate those on a daily basis, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. At this time, I would like to welcome a guest to this show, somebody who certainly is an extremely important person in St. Clair County. He's the base commander from Scott Air Force Base, and his name is Colonel Joseph Meyer. Colonel, perhaps you can give us an update on what's going on at Scott Air Force Base.
Absolutely. So thank you, Chairman Kern, and a big thank you to the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency for inviting me today. I look forward to the opportunity to talk about a few things that we've got going on at Scott Air Force Base. And where I'd like to start is to say we're in line with the county, with the way that we're operating. Nothing has changed as far as when you drive onto Scott Air Force Base and who has access to Scott Air Force Base and that sort of thing. We've closed down one of our 3 operating gates, but it wasn't out of any other necessity other than just like the county, we're sending people home so that they don't have to necessarily be there at work unless it is necessary, which I'll get to here in a moment. However, on Monday, March 16th, I did declare a public health emergency for the base, and that allowed me to have a few other authorities that I wouldn't normally have. And one of the things that we did in declaring that public health emergency is stand up an emergency operations center. So they're operating every day, maybe with the exception of the weekend if we can give them a little bit of a break, to distill all of the department level guidance that we're getting as to how we'll conduct business. But suffice it to say, business looks much like it does outside the gates. And by that I mean we've also closed restaurants and places to sit down and eat. We have left them open for to-go orders only. Our medical facilities are still up and running and will continue to do so, even given the governor's shelter-in-house guidance. We will. The roads are open. All of the emergency responders are still coming to work. The tower still remains open. The airfield still remains open in conjunction with Mid-America, of course. As you know, we're reliant on their runway right now. And then we have 36 mission partners on that installation that all have more or less some sort of mission. Some are more local, more regional. Others have missions that are global in nature and absolutely important to the security of the nation on a strategic level. Every one of those mission partners, and I'll just use U.S. Transportation Command as an example, they're open for business. Every one of those mission partners has their leadership, their commanders have made a call for that organization as to who is necessary to physically come to work, who they want to put into a telework status, and who is on some other sort of administrative leave in order to create that social distancing. And we're using, speaking of social distancing, we're using all of the same CDC guidelines. No more than 10 people in a room, separate yourself by 6 feet, we're not shaking hands, good public hygiene, and the list goes on. Given the latest information from the governor, we've already put our folks into the posture of who's necessary to be at work, who's in telework, and who's in administrative leave, and that doesn't change for us. Those missions are of a global significance, and they're federal missions. And however, what I will say is, when our members, be them civilian, military, either, when we're not getting after that global mission and coming to work and or on the telework, we're abiding by the exact same guidance that Governor Pritzker announced today. So I did want to mention that. Let's see. Our child care center right now is remaining open in order to facilitate the folks that are necessary to come to work. However, we've done all kinds of things there to ensure that folks who are in the demographic that may be more susceptible to worse impacts from, if you're immunocompromised or if you're over the age of 60, 65, we're trying to help those folks get out of the office and then other child care workers who have other impacts due to the schools releasing and maybe they need to take care of their own children. We're of course allowing them to head home and take care of their business. But our child care does remain open. The base commissary and the exchange also remain open at this time. Like many places, we have put limits on the high demand items just to ensure that there's enough for everyone who has access to those facilities. So I think what I'd like to just kind of wrap up with is just mentioning that I really appreciate the strong relationship and coordination that we have with our local communities, and I would like to remind everyone who's out here watching is whether you're here for a short time on an assignment, or whether this is your home and you've been working at Scott Air Force Base for years and years and years, or whether you're one of the community members that supports everyone that works at Scott Air Force Base, we definitely appreciate the conservative posture that this community has taken towards this. And right now, I should also mention that we currently do not have anyone who is positive for COVID-19 that works on the installation. However, like everywhere, that could change at any point. But I just thought I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. So with that, we're in this challenging time with you and with the rest of the community, and appreciate your patience. And as one thing I will mention is, if you're interested to see and you'll probably get a little more military lingo than you care for, but if you go to www.scott.af.mil, and again that's www.scott.af.mil, you can access all the guidance. We have links to the CDC sites as well. We also have additional guidance that we put out on the Scott Air Force Base Facebook page to try to get the word out to a broader community, to answer questions, etc. So we have a list of facts that we update every day. We also continue to update that guidance every day as this develops and matures. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
I know I speak for the citizens of St. Clair County as well as the much broader area, thanking you and telling you how much we appreciate Scott Air Force Base and what it's doing for all of us. And we're glad you're part of our team. We're glad you're part of our community.
Well, happy to be
Thank
here.
you.
Appreciate it.
Herb, are you ready to take over?
Thank you, Colonel. Appreciate the information. I'm sure our viewers really appreciate that, and also Chairman Kern. Just to wrap up here real quick, you heard the numbers that Barb Hope from the Health Department gave us today. One new death, of course, as we know, one is too many anyway. We're going to continue to monitor this. One other thing, St. Clair County Sheriff Rick Watson wanted me to reiterate, the roads are staying open. All the rumors out there, that's probably 75% of our job is rumor control at EMA. The bridges are going to remain open. The roads are open. The Sheriff's Department was getting calls. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that we are standing up our EOC 24 hours a day now. That number to reach is 618-825-2682. But I want to caution you, don't be calling and asking where you can get a test at. Don't be calling the 911 centers. They will be staying open because they're going to tell you to call your local healthcare provider. As you've heard here this afternoon, we want you to stay home at all possible, and we will get through this. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon, approximately 3:30, with another special guest that will hopefully give you some more insight. And as always, stay home, practice good personal hygiene, and we'll get through this. We'll see you tomorrow.